pressing the reset button. So we have Gail Turner, we have Sharon Walker, and we have Teresa Galloway. And so those of you who are watching this video, this is a very exciting time. I know for those of you at Salem, I got a chance to meet you, goodness, 8 or 9 months ago, last year, right around Thanksgiving. And we talked about the Salem Renaissance Initiative and all the things that we wanted to do to really help the children and the youth ministry there at Salem. But you know what? We're wanting to take this thing into another gear. And we talked about it a little bit last year, but I think it makes even more sense to actually hear from folks who make the engine go at Salem as to what this might mean. So, Gail, I'm just going to ask you, and this is off the fly, didn't tell her what questions I'm asking or anything. But Gail, I hear you have a certain job there at the church. Would you tell the good folks what job you have at the church?
Yes, I'm the director of Christian education.
Okay.
And I work with all the ministries in the church.
Okay.
And our main focus around the church is to help build the kingdom of God. So we just make sure that all the ministries are in line with what their goal and mission is for the year. And they all focus on having in-house missions and outside mission goals.
Got it.
So basically, it's to work with everybody in the church.
Okay. So you're kind of the field director of all the ministries and making sure everything stays aligned. Does that sound about right?
That's about right.
So when we talked, because you were there on that day where I don't know how I got led into the pulpit in a Baptist church. That was a big moment for me.
Yeah.
When you heard the idea that that our goal was to try to figure out how to raise $5,000 and direct it toward the youth of the church, what thoughts went through your mind in terms of what that meant to you and what you thought it might mean for Salem?
At the time when I heard about the goal to have this Renaissance program initiative started, I thought it was a great idea, and insurance is one thing that everybody needs, and it would be a great way to get insurance and at the same time raise money for the youth in the church, because there's never too much that you can do for the youth. They're constantly growing, there are constant needs, and people need insurance, and we need to help fund the programs that we have there at the Church of the Children. So I thought it was a great idea. I still do think it's a great idea.
Well, me too. And it's as folks are watching the video, when Gail is talking about everyone needing insurance, it's a fact. In fact, if you don't have it and you have blue lights behind you, your day could get pretty bad really quickly. But just as a reminder for everyone, so these conversations, the idea is that the folks there at Salem and the folks that Salem know and on just kind of spreading the spider web out of people that Teresa, and we'll introduce Teresa to you in a second, will get a chance to talk to, is that the $10 that goes to the youth ministry is not something that we give when people buy insurance. That's not the case. Now, I happen to think Teresa is smart enough and skilled enough, because I've seen her work, to know that she puts people in a good place, but really it's just for having the conversation with Teresa and letting them quote the insurance. So that means, Gail, that if somebody spends 30 minutes of time with Teresa and she builds a quote for them and they love it, then they are better protected and Salem gets $10. If Teresa has that conversation and she only works toward protecting people, but someone says, well, I don't think that's a good idea for me right now, Salem gets $10. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody watching the video understands that it is not contingent upon you buying anything. It's just contingent on you having the conversation. And I know Pastor talks a lot about, and you guys talk a lot about, serving the whole member at Salem. And this is a way to be able to do it. And And Sharon, I'm going to turn to you. One of the cool things about this is that a lot of times people want to be able to give to the church, or give more to the church, but their resources are limited. So one of the things that we love about this is that all it takes is a conversation, and we give to Salem on the behalf of that member or that member's friend or that member's coworker. So, and it's kind of unlimited. Honestly, it's unlimited. So the more people we talk to, the more times a $10 coin drops in the hat for Salem. So Sharon, you have kind of a special place here at Salem because we're targeting your ministry, your specific place. So I know probably everybody at Salem knows what you do, but people might be seeing this that don't even go to Salem are going to want to help. So tell the folks who you are and what you do at Salem.
Yeah, so I'm Sharon Walker, and I am the youth director for the God's Young Servants, our youth ministry at Salem. And, I'm a big kid at heart, so it makes sense that I would be the youth director because I'm just a kid with adult responsibilities. But one of the joys about our ministry is that we really are targeted in terms of building disciples. We're intentional about that. And the community in which we reside, there's a great need for us to really break down the walls of our church and begin to do more outreach ministry. But I think it's important that we first ensure that our home is ready to receive visitors. And, one of the things I'm always conscientious of is if I have guests, I want my home to be in the best place it could possibly be in. And I'm looking forward to this opportunity because it will certainly help us in that regard. And one of the things that I often stress is that our youth are the church of today and not the church of tomorrow. So many times people say, well, the youth are the future. Yeah, that's cool. But in all honesty, we are really shaping and building disciples so that they can be in God's army today, not tomorrow. We want to equip them with the word so that they can win souls over in their church, their schools, on their softball teams, on their cheerleading squads, right? They are
Right.
really the church of today and not tomorrow. And that's why this investment is so important.
Well, that's awesome. So I'm guessing that when we talked about a goal of $5,000, and by the way, we're kind of, that's our minimum goal. When Teresa chats in a minute, you'll probably get that uh, she looks at it as a starting place, not an ending place. But when
Love it.
you thought about $5,000 as being able to raise $5,000, one member quote, one member's friend quote at a time, $10 at a time, where do you see, how will that help the ministry that you direct? What did you visualize changing or being able to make happen as a result of that?
Yeah, so I see this being extremely significant. As I mentioned, one of the immediate needs, of course, are enhancements to the facility. Creating a space in which children feel invited, a
Hmm.
space in which children feel like it's their own, a space in which children have a hand in helping form and shape and having their own ideas around what that design looks like and feels like. And our children are already excited about coming to church now. I feel like creating that home would only aid in that excitement. And then beyond that, ensuring that we have the literature to support their spiritual edification, right?
Mm.
So we need children Bibles. King James is great, don't get me wrong. But my 7-year-old and 8-year-old doesn't understand thou and shout and,
Right.
and things of that
Understood.
nature, right? So ensuring that our children have Bibles they can pick up and it speaks in a language in which they understand, that they have the materials that they need, and we don't have to be creative in terms of how we deliver our curriculum, those things would be immediately helpful.
That is awesome. So I'm going to, this gives me chills, just like it did the first time we were talking about it. It feels like that very same moment. And the enthusiasm that both of you have for this, just, I hope that everybody watching this video will, and in fact, I don't hope, I'm a praying kind of guy. So my prayer is that people will feel the enthusiasm that you're talking about and that you're speaking with, um, and really find a way to weigh in on this and not be passive, but to be absolute, because there is no law. The worst thing that can happen for anybody, Gail or Sharon, is that they will have a better idea of how they're spending their money to protect their families. That's the
Yeah.
worst case scenario. And that's not a
Mhm.
bad worst case scenario. So I'm going to introduce now to the folks that have never met. So Teresa Galloway, is a member of our team that has really just joined our team here early summer. And I'm going to tell you a couple of things about Teresa as we go in. First of all, she is a God-fearing woman. Uh, she was telling me the other day about the client that she was talking to over the phone and talking to them about auto insurance. Before she knew it, she was praying with them over the phone. So this is the person that is on my team that is going to basically be Sharon and Gail's left and right hand person in terms of connecting to Renaissance Insurance Group. I am giving her the keys to this car because I know the car will not park and stay there and need a jump start later if Teresa is involved with this. She literally lives in West Virginia. But in these days, many of us have learned, like you have learned, that you can do something from pretty much anywhere if you have to. And this plague that is upon our land has actually made us think differently about a lot of things and how we can do things and how we need to be creative. I will tell you that Teresa has raised over $6,000 in an effort like this before with multiple churches. So not only is she enthusiastic, but she's also skilled and she has a resume when it comes to this. So Teresa, what is it that you would want people to know about this effort and what it can really mean and what it means to you personally?
So, first off, thanks, Greg. But I would say for me personally, and Sharon and I had this conversation earlier this week. For me, I'm still a young person, right, in the church, and so growing up, I think I spent a lot of time in church. I spent a lot of time around ministers and ministries. And one of the things that was very evident to me as a kid is that this is where I belong. I belong in the church. And I think one of the things that made that extremely comfortable for me is because I was wanted and I was in a space that I felt made me extremely comfortable. Now, that wasn't always the case. I have been in churches where the space does not welcome you. I have been in churches where everything around you looks like chaos, from the adults and pastor to literally the furniture. So to me, this type of fundraiser is very near and dear to my heart because I've seen both sides of it. And I definitely want to make sure that I know nothing about these children. I know nothing about the congregation, but I do know that as a child of God, that this was one of the things that helped me escalate my faith and helped establish my foundation in church, and it really helped me grow into the woman that I am now. Both me and my husband do children's ministry, and the children's ministry that we're a part of now is completely different than what it was when we were kids.
Yeah.
So having something that is progressive and having people who are progressive around you, um, I am super excited about this because this is like definitely what I absolutely love to do. And I'm honored that I have a job and a boss and wonderful people to partner with that will allow me to do that. So,
Well, so thank you. So here's what's really cool about this. So there was a few different ways that we started this last year with, can you text this? Can you do this? And so I've been in a few churches myself, not many churches that have been around as long as Salem has been. But I should have known that having someone text to a number and get a reply and then having to fill out a form was what was working for about 30% of the people that were sitting in that sanctuary that day. So here's what we're doing differently. And I'm very excited about it. So the face that you see, that smiling face, Teresa Galloway, that you see, is going to be your point person. So there will be one telephone number to call. In fact, when we have this produced and you guys see this out, it's actually going to be on the screen. There will be one telephone number, one email address, and there will be one text number to be able to send it to. So she will be the point of contact. The other thing that we're doing, because very often, and here comes Pastor Todd in here, that is great timing. One of the other things that's going to, because as Pastor Atkins comes on, one of the things we were talking about is that even though people are at home now because of COVID and there's also an issue of people wanting to make sure that they manage their time the best possible way and that the time is spent efficiently. So Teresa and I have just cracked the code on some technology just this morning that will allow us, for example, Gail, to send you something, email it to you, and you can fill out most of the information before you even talk to Teresa. So what would have ordinarily been an hour call can now be a half-hour call, or maybe even shorter than that, because she can gather all the information so that Sharon, when she talks to you, she'll have most of it built right in front of it. So the whole idea of what's your phone number, where's your date of birth, all that kind of stuff that would normally be part of the administrative part of the call, we have just figured out how to strip all of that out so that the conversation that we have with Gail or Sharon or anyone that you recommend is purely about what their needs are, what they need to protect. So it will be a more efficient conversation. It will be a more accurate conversation, but it will also, most importantly, be more focused on the person that Teresa's talking to and less around the kind of administrative stuff that has to happen in the background. So, so we're very excited. You can tell we have been thinking a lot about this. The fact that we have you guys on this Zoom call is amazing because it's important for the people in the church to see that this is not just me and Teresa talking, and we ain't really talked to Gail about this. We ain't talked to Sharon about this. And does Todd know what we're doing or not? This is a collaborative effort that we are thrilled to be part of. And so, Pastor Todd, I see the top of your head there. And I hear your children in the background, so I know you're at home. So I don't know whether it was Ella or Miles, but tell them we said hello.
I sure will. I thought I could hide. I got a couple of families I got trying to call me, so I was trying to do two things at once.
Well, that's the life of a pastor. So what we were just talking about, Todd, is what this new relaunch of this initiative will mean to Salem. And Sharon has weighed in. Gail has given us some perspective from her point of view. We've talked to Teresa and how see what her focus is and her background. As we get this thing back off the ground and really put it into another gear, what is it that you want Salem and Friends of Salem to know about being part of this initiative and really weighing in from the pastor's seat?
Well, I just think I wanted to know how beneficial it is to be a blessing to our youth department. And I think that's the main thing, how you can contribute by just giving a few minutes of your time that can benefit you personally, but also benefit the ministry as a whole. It's about passing on the blessing to other people. So I think it's a very easy way, in a very tangible way that they can really express their love for our youth department. And to really not only serve them as a pastor, we're supposed to look out for our members, not only their spiritual lives, but their financial lives as well. And so if they are better in a financial position, that's the blessing that we want to pass on. And so I think all of those are included with what we want to do. You can bless yourself, but also be a blessing to our youth department so that they can continue on. So it has those ripples effect.
Well, I would tell you, so I don't know how many folks know. I think you probably shared this a couple of times, but for those of you watching, Pastor Atkins is not talking about this from a theoretical point of view. He has actually had one of the conversations that we talked about. And not only is he better protected, I'm not going to put his business in the street, but he's got 15, 20 extra cents in his pocket as a result of
$2,200 to be exact.
$2,200 that he saved over the course of a year by having a conversation. At that, and now he's better protected as a part of that. Now, this is the part.
My offering has went up though.
There you go. I was waiting for you to say it. There you go. To those who much has been given. But the as important as it is that he was able to have a great conversation and know what the experience is like, and as great as it is that he was able to actually even save money, because most of us, when we're doing insurance, whatever we did is what we've been doing forever. We ain't looked at it as long as the bill is paid and I don't get a ticket is where we left it. But that Todd and his family are better protected now than they were before. And that's where the truest blessing is. So we hope that with these voices that you see on here, that I'm hoping you're going to consider Salem as an endorsement for this effort, that this is our company's opportunity and our way to be able to give back to the community in a way that means a great deal to me as an agency owner. I know it means a great deal to Teresa. As a team member, actually co-worker is a better way to put it, because she kind of runs stuff around here. I act like I have the keys. I have the keys cut, but basically they tell me where to sit and when to talk and all that kind of stuff. But we are going to have a tenacious, ferocious, fierce, determined campaign to get us to a minimum of $5,000 by Thanksgiving. And I forgot to tell you all this other part, then I'll get you out of here. Did y'all talk about Todd, do they know about the drawing for $500?
Yeah, I don't think they do. You get your.
Oh, wait
No,
a
they
minute
don't.
now. So there's skin in the game. So you'll be better off because you'll know more about your insurance. You'll be better off because your quote's going to give $10 for everybody that you send to Teresa that quotes their business. By the way, I dare you to try to outwork Teresa in terms of how many quotes you. Sharon already knows. She's been hunted down. Todd's been hunted down for names because Sharon ain't about to get beat here. And here's why this is important to Sharon and Todd and Gail. We queuing you up too. So just so you know. All right. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So here's how this works. If we get at least 50 people to quote, that's all we need. Now, 50 people is $500. Our goal is what, Sharon? Where are we trying to go?
We're trying to get 5,000.
5,000.
Yes,
So
5,000.
every person you recommend to us, Salem, listen to me clearly here. Every person you recommend to us, your name goes into a hat. So Sharon has already recommended 5 people, I think.
That's just the beginning.
That's just the beginning, because she really is very competitive. I've heard, I didn't know that about Sharon, but it's starting to come through.
Yes.
So everybody that she recommends to Teresa, that Teresa quotes, Sharon's name goes into the hat. So Gail, you got that. You just can't give Teresa a name. You need to make sure the names you're giving to Teresa know that Teresa's going to be talking to them and they need a quote. Okay? Teresa's going to do a quote. That name will go into a hat. Every person, that name will go into a hat. Whether you're in Salem or whether you are of Salem or connected to Salem, everybody that Teresa talks to and quotes, the person that recommended, their name goes in the hat. And right around Thanksgiving, we're going to do that drawing, and maybe we'll do it on that day, whichever Sunday makes most sense. And somebody's going to get $500 for having their name just drawn out of the hat. Just drawn out of the hat.
I'm ready.
Let me tell you something that y'all should know about me is that if I get super excited about this, it might end up being more than that. But we're going to start at $500 of free money, Gail, just for helping yourself and helping everybody else. So Todd, I don't know how many you got in there. I know what 10% of 500 is. So I know what that means. But I want everybody to hear that. You'll be benefiting yourself. What'd you say, Gail?
I've got some catching up to do.
Yes, you do. So not only will you be left better off because you'll be more aware of how to protect your family, not only will Salem be better off because every quote's going to generate $10 to these children and creating a space that you all want for them, but you could walk away with $500 just for the effort that you put in for helping Salem. And that is all coming from Renaissance Insurance Group because of the love I have for your pastor, the love I have for your work, Sharon, the love I have for you, Gail, and guiding all those ministries. And quite frankly, also the love I have for my cousin, who is also Todd's mother-in-law, because she's going to want some of this action too. I'm going to let you know that she'll want some of this action too. So for those of you who are watching, let's make this happen for the children of Salem, and let's make it happen for you. And let me just go out on a limb and say, let's make this happen for the kingdom of God, because
That's it.
all of this, all
To
of
God
this,
be the glory. Yes.
That's
to his
it.
glory. Absolutely. So thank you, Todd. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Teresa. This is the cornerstone of the dream team here, folks, that's about to make some major things happen. We're not gonna put a little thermometer in the hallway, Todd, to see how we doing this thing. We ain't gonna do that. We got some work to do. So let's serve this kingdom and serve these children.
These two leaders of Salem are pillars in our ministry, and if anybody can get it done, they will.
We're looking forward to that, and you have partners in us to get it done. So thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for.
And we'll all see you tomorrow. All my leaders will be with you tomorrow.
That's right,
I'll be
tomorrow.
there.
That's exactly
Yes.
right.
All of them will be there.
Yeah, so that's a different hat I wear. You haven't seen me dance like that. You might invite me into the pulpit. Sharon, you might tell Todd to sit down after you see what happens tomorrow. Okay? So yes, that's going to be very, very exciting. And Todd, thank you for getting that invitation out to so many folks. It looks like 15 or 16 different organizations will be represented tomorrow morning. And by the way, we might just tell them that if they want to do something like Salem's doing, then they might be able to do it too.
All of them count, and those are my quotes. Those are my referrals. So
yeah, okay. And let the church say,
Amen.
Amen. You all have a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll see you soon. God bless you all.
God
Thank
bless.
y'all.
All righty. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.